Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to another live stream of Hearthstone. If you're watching this live, you may notice that I'm not particularly running ads anymore. I think it's not worth it, frankly. Particularly if I have the negative feeling that on this Sunday stream that nobody's really watching it anyways. I don't see the point of making one person watch one more ad. Like, the whole thing with ads falls apart when you're talking clicks per million or views per million, views per thousand. It's like none of my videos individually get that many views that fast, and frankly, it's just kind of a hassle going out of the window and hitting the button to make an ad roll. It may be with the YouTube update though. Maybe they'll make streaming so it just automatically happens every certain number of time, and I'd try to be fair and say maybe every 30 minutes or 45 minutes just have one ad. Like that doesn't seem beyond what I was asking before. Let's see if we can get a victory with the druid. There's only one more victory we need and then we're done. I was talking last time as we wrapped up the recording about games done quick. There is one story that's not really going out there, and it's again one of these political-esque stories that I don't want to talk about that much, but I'll bring it up. So, famous Twitch person Dan's Gaming, he's somewhat famous, people know him, was hosting, which is a weird thing you can do on Twitch. I don't know if I can just host people in random. Like, I technically have a Twitch channel. Can I host games done quick and ask people to come watch it on my channel and talk on my chat instead of the main chat? Which honestly, that's probably not a terrible idea, because the chat on Games Done Quick and any big thing is just this spewing of emoticons. That's all it is. It's just emoticons, emoticons, emoticons. Nothing being said. No real conversation to be had there. It just flies by way too fast. So if they broke up their audience and said, look, everybody who's a fan of this guy, go over here and have a real conversation. Everybody who's a fan of this girl, go over here and have your conversation. Everybody who's a fan of this other guy, come over here. If they just broke up the chat into groups, like sub-chats or subgroups, that would probably help the experience a lot. But anyways, Dan's Gaming was hosting it. So he's in some way sort of affiliated, maybe, with the thing. But he had this emoticon that was, as far as I can tell, created before the before Games Done Quick. It seemed to be an internal joke of an emoticon of the main guy, Dan, in a dress. So he's got this mustache and goatee, I think, and then a large bosoms and a fat belly in a dress, which, okay, it's the Looney Tunes thing. It's like, how many times have we seen Bugs Bunny in a dress? If you've seen the old Looney Tunes, it's a dumb joke. Unless there's something we don't know about Dan's Gaming, or I don't know about Dan's Gaming, where he actually does like to dress and drag, or he actually is a cross-dresser, which, frankly, there's to each their own. There's nothing wrong if he does want to do that. He doesn't strike me as the type of person who does that, but maybe he does. Who knows? I'm no expert, surely. But somebody got on there, saw that emoticon, and got on Twitter and complained, and frankly an SJW, as we would call him, and said that it was transphobic and insulting to have an emoticon of a specific guy in a dress for a joke. That this is transphobic, which in itself is actually queerphobic. That statement. So the person, the SJW that's there is actually saying something rather offensive to people who are, I hope queer is the right term here, because there is actually a term in the LGBTIQ LGBTQT, yeah, so it's lesbian, gay, bisexual, queer, transgendered, intersexual, and questioning, or something like that. Like, they just keep adding letters to it, and the problem there is it's this community that they're trying to play, to group together of sometimes disparate people that are different and have different opinions. And in a weird way, the more of a minority you are in that group, it somehow inversely gets you more power in that group, because then you're commanding the people that are like just gay and lesbians, which are also gay, but male, female, and all other potential homosexuals. You're commanding that very large group to then fight for the rights, or you're asking them, maybe not commanding them is the wrong term, but you're asking them to fight for issues that they personally may not think are an issue, but they feel obliged to still fight for a much smaller group. For instance, transgendered people, which is actually, when you compare homosexual numbers versus transgender numbers, it's night and day. It's like transgender is 0.03% of the population. Homosexuals, like, I don't know. I don't want to say 40% of the population, but it's probably closer, somewhere between 20 and 40, I would say. Which that's a big difference. There. And so, yeah, you very much have this issue where the group of people that do like to dress in drag, because there most definitely are people that dress in drag and have big mustaches and wear a dress and have giant boobs. We've seen drag queens out there. That's what I think you call a queer person, is when they like to dress in clothes that are specifically gendered for the other gender. And so this is all a big argument that really shouldn't be happening or have anything to do with games done quick. And the right response for everybody would have been to just ignore this SJW and go let people who agree with her in her kind of stupid argument just have their group think and agree on Twitter. But that's not what happened, sadly. Somebody from Games Done Quick, who was a moderator, did see it and did make the decision to ban it. And it irritated a lot of people who probably were fans of Dan's gaming, and frankly just people who are fans of logical sense.
Join the pack.
It would potentially irritate people just that are fans of Bugs Bunny, because like that's where this is getting down to. It's an old Bugs Bunny joke, And then you get into kind of the argument is like, you can't watch any of the Speedy Gonzales cartoons because those are offensive stereotypes, and you can't watch any of the old Looney Tunes because those are offensive this way. Everything's offensive. Eventually, that's the problem, is that some people certainly want to word police and just thought police people to the point where there is going to be nothing is going to be acceptable, because everything is going to be offended, and people don't want that in their life. They don't want to live walking on eggshells because they can't make a joke, or they can't see or enjoy something anymore because it offends some tiny person. It seems like some people think that the world has to be 100% offense-free, and that's just not the case. Like, you can't do anything without offending somebody, and people just need to get over themselves, get over it. It's a stupid emoji of a guy in a dress. It should have never been banned. It should have never been touched. It is so easy for corporations to just ignore things. Just block the comment if it's tweeted to them. Just say we'll investigate it. We'll look into it. Just never respond. Never do anything. They don't need to take these actions, and they think they're going to get brownie points by taking the actions, and they do get brownie points for 50% of the population, but you then lose the equivalent amount of points for the other rest of the population. Moving on, though, that's the bit of nastiness. A lot of talk about how Games Done Quick has gotten too big for its britches. It's gotten too corporate. Probably true, yeah. For something that really is just a bunch of speedrunners and kids, you might say, the desire to make a ton of money is probably growing and causing it to eventually implode under itself, and it'll just be like this corporate interest, corporate sponsorship thing, I bet, in a few years. Moving on, Steam Machine, SteamOS is apparently not really being worked on Valve. I could have probably guessed that, but there was an article looking back, and they asked some of the people who built Steam machines for sale what happened, and they said, well, we were really interested in it, and we tried, and then Gabe Newell pretty much stopped answering our phone calls. I think they probably failed horribly, Valve did, with the SteamOS idea from the get-go, because it needed to be a tiny project, like less known about than even like Android when it was first released, because it needs probably a lot of work, a lot of clearing out. Like, we're at Android 7.0 on the phone, if you can get an update to 7.0, and just now it's starting to feel like a fully fleshed out operating system, whereas before it was missing some features and struggling to compete in some ways, or just doing some weird things. And the funny thing is that there is a project that's very unknown that Google's working on to completely kind of reboot Android so it doesn't even work on Java code or Java language. So they're trying to take all of that out and start over from scratch again, and that's probably a good thing. I would love to see if Microsoft would what they would do if they started making a new operating system competing with Windows that they were going to use to specifically try to make some competition and try to make things work a little bit better. Just drop all the legacy support too. Yeah, if Microsoft came out with something not called Windows, but it was an operating system and it was way better, that'd be an interesting twist. So yeah, that's what I think SteamOS should have been. It should have been this thing that they're working on in the background and they're not ready to sell. And maybe they are working on the background, but honestly I just think Steam and Valve has no focus. Let's stop playing this guy because we're not winning. We'll try this one instead. So maybe we'll get a SteamOS, which is a Linux operating system eventually. It being built on Linux, there's still a lot of problems with Linux and gaming though, inherently. And that's what you've got to get, is you've got to convince people to have better video card driver support on Linux and better video game programming on Linux. And that means you also have to figure out a way to get all the old games to run on Linux well too. In theory, a game running on Linux, properly programmed, would run smoother than a game running on Windows because there'd just be probably less extra services and features running in the background. Just more processor power. What? What was that?
Happy Midsummer Festival.
What?
Happy Midsummer Festival.
My thanks to you.
He said something weird there.
Bring out your dead.
ESPN has reported that Blizzard has 6 Overwatch League teams lined up. So Blizzard is really going to try to have this like professional league on, I guess, on ESPN. That'll be interesting, certainly, I guess.
The master
Oh, goody.
YouTube Gaming, oddly, is adding this thing called sponsorships, which is not the right term, frankly. But it's basically paid subscribers like Twitch, and they're working on making custom chat emojis per channel. Right now, they're gonna think about doing maybe some different things later.
ash to ash.
What does this one do? Random friendly minion +1/+1.
Oh, goody.
So yeah, YouTube Gaming specifically is trying to compete with Twitch instead of YouTube themselves competing with Twitch, and that'll be weird if that creates a break or proves that there already is a break of
The master hungers.
what does this one do?
Melt away.
Split this. Yes.
Job's done.
If the chat on YouTube Gaming is not the same as the chat on YouTube, I am not seeing the YouTube Gaming chat.
The jungle.
That's just the case of it. I had always looked at YouTube Gaming, and they had always kind of sold it as it's just a front end, a different overlay of YouTube, and you didn't really need to go there. It was just kind of for the end user if they wanted something different. But I'm starting to wonder if they're going to get away from that and change it to being its own separate thing, and I have no idea how I would handle that at all. Frankly, I don't really like YouTube gaming, and it hasn't really helped my channel any. One would have hoped it would have. However, going over to Twitch is still not really an option either, so we just struggle on. Kind of some good news here, considering how there was the article and how I got into the rant. Every time I talk about China taking over more of the market of the video game industry, I get into the same rant because it is a big issue I think to consider. But a Chinese studio called Oasis Games is actually going to release in August for the PS4 a 2.5D Unreal Engine action platformer called Hidden Dragon Legend. Now the name, it's got some the name is kind of on the nose, I will say, but beyond that, it's not too bad. Like, I saw a trailer of this game. Hidden Dragon Legend looks like a interesting game. It's not some cheap Chinese MMO that's stealing a bunch of copyrighted things. It doesn't look like that. It looks like an actual effort to make something that people outside of China might actually be willing to meet Chinese players with halfway and play. And I want to see more of that. If China is going to be a big player in the video game market, they've got to meet us halfway. They've got to play something or have something that is interesting to people outside of China. And I don't want to get into that rant too much again, so I'm going to just move on. Bard's Tale 4 is apparently in development, which is interesting because this is part of a trend I'm starting to notice of really, really old games coming back in the form of either remakes or continuations. I doubt very many people will actually want to play Bard's Tale 4, but interesting that it's coming out there. PlayerUnknown's Battleground was data mined, and they found armor, poison apples, and leather dusters. But the problem there is that you really shouldn't listen to any information found inside code, because there's a very good chance that's never actually going to be added to the game. It can just be put there as an idea, it could be put there as a distraction, or it could be put there and then disabled because it never works. And if it never works, then there's really it may very well just never work. Activision is going to be at Comic-Con. I find that odd. Last thing Comic-Con needs is for it to be even less about comics. It's already about movie announcements and such, so that sucks. Yeah, I don't think Activision's going to get much of an audience there. Almost certainly, I guess maybe Activision is publishing the Sony Spider-Man game. Maybe that would make sense. Can I copy this death rattle? Interesting. See how that works. Maybe we won't. Let's just actually see if we can win here.
Justice is mine.
Overwatch has a new character called Doomfist. I don't know how much of Overwatch I should really cover since I'm not playing the game and it's just going to constantly update things. We had a story about the Play Dead co-founder. I think his name is Dino Dady or Duty, or Pady or Duty. I wrote it down badly. He did have some kind of fallout with the other co-founder, and he left and sold 49% of his shares. Unfortunately, we're probably never going to know what that fallout is, because that's seems to be all anybody who's willing to talk can say is some kind of fallout. Which, okay, fair enough. Let's kill this. And this would be 7 damage and 8.
Justice is mine.
Job's done.
In that turn. An interesting thing to take from this. So Nintendo last week, we're having a lot of stories that are just kind of continuations of previous stories here. But Nintendo last week casually dismissed ever going to PC. And like I've said several times, I repeat myself a lot, Japanese companies only really care about Japanese sales, and they don't care about outside of their own country. It's a weird xenophobic way of thinking. I guess maybe it comes from a just general distrust of the market being stable outside of Japan for their goods.
Bring out your dead.
Should I do this? Or should I stay?
Melt away.
None may challenge.
Justice is mine.
So, sorry, I got quiet there as I'm trying to really win here. Most 8 out of the 10 top selling games in Japan right now are on Nintendo consoles, whether the Switch or the 3DS. The only 2 games that weren't on Nintendo consoles, top selling games, were Biohazard 7, Resident Evil 7 in the West, and Nier Automata, which were both on PlayStation 4. So while we may be seeing Japanese companies tipping their toe into PC games, it's not really happening to the level, or it's not to that point yet, at least, that we're seeing all of the Japanese people who really don't have room or money to own computers are somehow buying and having PCs. But at least they're trying. At least we're seeing games come to PC. Maybe it will just boil down to the Japanese company feel it necessary to have PC versions on the PC just for Western players. Let's see. I have to do this. No, I have to do this. I have to hit here. And that didn't work. That. And then I can do this. And then, yeah, I've lost. Let's just end the turn.
Well played.
Paradox Interactive was in the news because they raised their prices and then people got mad and then they undid the raise of the prices. I had a different perspective on it until I really realized that what they very possibly were doing was just raising their prices so that the Steam Summer Sale that happened a week later would reflect a very high percentage on sale. That is something we've seen nefarious companies do, is raise the game up to its maximum $60 that it was sold for originally 10 years ago, and then when the Steam Summer Sale goes down, take it back down to the $10 it's been on sale for in the past year, and that way it will show that there's this 90%, 80% discount, which frankly I fall for. I totally fall for that when I look at summer sales, is I look for the 90%, 81% discounts and say, well, that game is really discounted and you're not really going to get anything better than 90% unless it's a glitch or something. So yeah, it's a tactic that sadly works, at least on me. So yeah, I feel like Paradox Interactive was being a little bit nefarious, and they're still kind of being a little bit nefarious. They have these forms if you bought the game at the higher prices, where you can fill out the form and give them an email and show them a receipt and give them an explanation of what DLC you would like instead. But there's certainly not.
Justice demands retribution.
Justice is mine.
It's almost like they're having a conversation there. So yeah, you have to basically fill out a rebate form to get free games that cost Paradox Interactive nothing because you paid too much because they bought it. Now, hopefully, one would hope nobody overpaid for it, so nobody actually has to fill out that form. But I bet some people did. Sony PlayStation has updated Sony has updated PlayStation Now, which is their streaming service, to.
This is our town, scrub.
Yeah, beat it.
Victory for Silver. Well played.
Let's see, if I played this, I can't do that.
Justice is mine.
So yeah, the streaming service, which isn't that good, now has PlayStation 4 games. Man, I'm getting distracted. Good thing I'm almost done with the news. There wasn't a ton of news here today on this Sunday stream. And yeah, no comments. That's what I figure. Anytime I stream on Sunday, it doesn't work. Like, if I was really gonna do this better, I would definitely make it so that the Sunday streams don't happen. I would stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and then back on Monday. Or something like that. Something close to that, at least.
This is our town, scrub.
Yeah, beat it.
Well, that seemed to work pretty well. Got some fireworks there. And then, I've given it some more thought after watching the Diablo 2, because Loki, I know he's not probably watching right now, asked me to play Diablo 3 with him and I had to turn him down. Sadly, if I was going to play a game in the Diablo series, I'd play Torchlight, because that's where the creators of it is going. Like, that's where the creators of Torchlight went. The creators of Diablo went after, I think, Diablo 2. So I wouldn't really want to play Diablo 3 anyways. I'm just crushing Loki's streams here if he's listening to this. I probably still would play Diablo 3 at some point. I just don't have time for it. And the bigger issue is I'm still learning, and I should have a better response to requests to play. And I think the response, the only real response I can get is just now. I'm not going to take requests to play unless I'm already playing the game. So, if you see I'm playing Hearthstone and you want to play me as a friend, sure, I will play you as a friend. Friend me, send a friend request. All of that. I love that. That helps me. That helps you. But if you see I own a game on Steam,
That was a mistake.
I probably don't have time to reinstall that game or install that game for the first time, more likely, and play it on any schedule that would make anybody happy.
Summer Fire Festival.
If I haven't played a game before, the way I do my channel is different than other people, way other people do their channels. So, like, I'm trying to have something that's more
Justice is
long
mine.
term as far as the videos. I don't want something that won't be worth watching 20 years from now because it's just a bunch of friends playing around. That's what a lot of Let's Players and even the Minecraft players, that like a lot of their goofing around of playing the same game over and over again. Let's do Lucky Blocks today. Let's do Lucky Blocks today. There's no replay value in that. There's no reason somebody's gonna watch the Lucky Blocks episode that happened a year ago. I'm gonna lose here. Whereas when I cover a game, I want that to be a full playlist. I want it to still make sense to watch me play the Talos Principle. That's a bad example because I need to replay that. The graphics were really bad. Life is Strange is having some graphical issues too, but I don't think that's really the fault of my computer. I think it's just their engine. But The Witcher 3 is a better example. Yeah, when people go look up The Witcher 3, I want them to be suggested my playthrough of The Witcher 3 because it's better and more helpful to watch than somebody else's run of The Witcher 3 where they're just goofing around and not talking and not adding any commentary or anything of use to the game. And so that desire, that goal, compared to individual fans' desire to play with me, kind of conflicts. Like, my channel's not here to make me friends, it's here to make me fans. It is an odd way to say it. It's like followers, people that want to watch and enjoy it, and I want them to be happy, certainly, but I also can't
Justice is mine. And with taunt is in the way.
darn it. I'm gonna lose. Like, I've never personally, just to put it bluntly, I'm saying it pretty bluntly now as I'm explaining my position, which is probably not it's coming off as kind of a jerk thing to say. I often feel like I have to be a jerk in this channel, but I've never really had any success or real desire to have a lot of people play with me online as a group of friends. I wasn't the World of Warcraft style player where there was a whole clan or anything like that. I've been very much a solo player, and I'm still pretty much a solo player, even when I'm playing multiplayer games. Like, I'm a lone gunner. A loner, I suppose, might be a better term. Alright, so let me look at the clock here. Now, because the truth of the matter is I've been doing this wrong. We have 6 minutes till we run out of 45. We've gone 45 minutes. I could sit here, I could try to play ranked, I could try to get up to here. We may notice that I'm not getting anywhere on ranked. I could try this, I suppose, and we'll see if we can get up to this point. You don't even really need to get both standard and wild up to this point, because it's just the reward you get is the best you get either in wild or standard. So playing the two back to back is actually a waste of time. The only thing it really does is helps some of these characters get up to rank 500 and level 60. But I think some of that stuff might happen too. So if I can just instead see if anybody wants to play me, which nobody does. Nobody is playing right now. Loki's in-app, or I don't think these things are right, frankly. Most of the time. Don't have any friend requests. I don't get enough on the American side. But you may notice it said the other one is logged in. With the new update, there's no reason for me not to get victories. Let's see, the new update is also with the mini Ragnars. There's really no reason not to just challenge myself and get my second account more gold. Even though my secondary account has like 26. Can I accept this? Yeah, I have 26 card packs right now on my secondary account. And that is ridiculous. So I'm just gonna play myself as a warrior. I'll take the warrior, select here, and all I need is a victory, which means all I need is this secondary account to get below 10 and then concede, which would be the easiest way to do this. But since I am getting double gold right now, why not play this a little bit and see how far we can go. Because there are 3 daily quests that are double the gold on the secondary account, which I shouldn't care about the secondary account. And I would much rather play somebody else, like, certainly, because this is boring and it takes a lot of effort to sit here and play 2 different games, or play 2 different sides of the same game. However, it's not quite as boring as the concept of trying to play other people and losing over and over again. You can see with my Hearthstone deck tracker app is we have a 32% win ratio on this deck. Let's see. So one of my daily quests on the other account is to destroy minions. So I'm gonna work from my main account to lower my other account down to 0, while at the same time from my other account I'm going to work to destroy minions. And we'll just see if we can work this well together. Adapt. Plus 300.
Job's done.
And then in the turn. And let's see.
Ready to ride.
In a funny way, I think I'm gonna lose here. I'm gonna lose to myself.
Join the pack.
Job's done.
Here we go. I need to get this guy down to 10. I need to get my other character down to 10, which means I probably need to stop damaging so much. Alright. Do this. Draw 2 mana crystals. Gain 2 mana crystals. Do this.
For the wild.
This. Gain the turn.
Don't mess with Tusker.
What you want?
Trying to make a decision here. There we go. Why does my deck here suffer so much worse than just a standard basic deck? Have I really messed up that much that a basic deck would win against me?
For the wilds. Job's done.
Well, the timer just went off, and that's what I figured. It's just a ton of... Let's get this guy down to bare minimum health.
What you looking at?
So I want to get the druid down to
Join the pack.
to 1, and then do this and this and this, and so we want to get both sides down to 1 and then win with the druid. So we can do that and that and that and that, and then we can go ahead and kill that and go ahead and kill that. We could go ahead and do that and that and end the turn. Is this a beast?
For the wild.
Sick 'em.
So we can kind of go back and forth now. But let's not get too crazy here. That, and then this, and this. And we'll do this and then a turn. And I think we're done. I could continue going back and forth like this.
I have returned.
Oh, this was a beast. I could have summoned a copy of that too. Like, I could keep going back and forth and let him do one more damage, and we could do this for 17 more turns, but let's just take the victory and be done. And hopefully, if I haven't screwed that up, that will mean I've got my victory on my main account. Let's see. Yes. So we're done with the daily quests, the ones I really care about. Frankly, I have like 5 different accounts now. Well, 4. And for my other account, for the daily quest, what did I get done? Come on, daily quest load. I destroyed 13 minions of the 40 I needed to do, and I didn't play anything at all. Okay, so yeah, if you have a secondary account, it might be right now would be a great time to play that secondary account and get that gold and do all that. Why would you have a secondary account on the cell phone? Well, because there's nobody else. There's nobody else online a lot of times. And inherently that's kind of the problem with Hearthstone, isn't it? Like, you've just seen me spend 6 minutes playing myself just to get the daily quest done, which is better than probably the 20 plus minutes I spent before that trying to get a single victory playing against people. Money wise, we're doing good. I am ready to do an arena as soon as somebody wants to see an arena. I'm kind of itching for it, so maybe in the next 3 days. That's it for the stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.